Discover the extraordinary fragrance Ariana Grande REM Cherry Eclipse. Delight in black cherry jubilee, sugared honeysuckle, marshmallow meringue, and glowing amber. Get the perfect fragrance. Ariana Grande's REM Cherry Eclipse, exclusively at Ulta Beauty.
At IKEA, your dreams can come true. Well, maybe not the ones where you're being chased by a monster. We're talking about kitchen dreams. And there are IKEA products and solutions for all of them. Whether it's a whole new kitchen, a statement glassware set, or just new cutlery. If you got big dreams or small dreams in any size of budget, IKEA can help you bring them to life. Visit IKEA.us/dreamkitchen to learn more. Dream the possibilities.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
All right. Welcome back.
MisFit Nation, the MisFit Nation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the MisFit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the MisFit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the MisFit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the MisFit Nation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back to the MisFitNation and your Thursday after dinner show. I know you have other places you can be, other things you can be doing, but you chose to ride with us and gain those frequent flyer miles. We thank you for that. Before we get started tonight, we do have some somber news. Tonight, we remember police officer Alec Sanders from the Alhambra Police Department, California, and to watch Thursday, November 20th, 2025. Let's keep police officer Alec Sanders, his family, his friends, his peers, his community in your thoughts and prayers as they go through this sudden change and change that they're not ready to complete. Remember, they put their uniforms daily to protect you and serve the communities. Their families know there's a risk, but they don't want it to happen. And when it does, it's a shocking loss. So let's keep them in your thoughts and prayers. But tonight, on the MisFitNation, we welcome a new U.S. Navy veteran whose story is a powerful blend of service, struggle, and transformation. He is the founder of Cognitive Fitness Coach. He spent 24 years supporting Naval Special Warfare operators in some of the harshest and most demanding environments on Earth. But after years of stress, trauma, and operational intensity, he faced burnout, addiction, and the battle for his own life. His comeback through mindfulness, meditation, breathwork, and neuroscience became the foundation of a new mission, helping others rebuild from the inside out. His journey is raw, real, and packed with wisdom for anyone seeking clarity, healing, and resilience. So without further ado, let's welcome U.S. Navy veteran Chris Norris to the MisFitNation. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, thanks, Rich. Thanks for having me on, man. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. I know in the green room we were talking about old missions coming here to Fort Campbell, doing some special ops stuff, and welcome greeting from the locals here as they were called to serve that day. And I appreciate you still coming on anyway, even knowing that. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, it was a good time. I had good times back then, good memories. Yeah, I loved all of it. Yeah, I miss it. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes big time. Sure you can relate.
Definitely, yes. At least during my day job, I get to see basically us as young people still doing it. So it still feels like we're there at some points, but you still get that itch, man. I wish I was still doing this. And then you start feeling those little weird things that you feel in your body as you get older, like pain.
Yeah.
Like, why does this hurt? I just sneezed. I don't know what happened. And it's there. So you got to go through those things. But you get the itch and it goes right away. It's like the medicine you don't need, really. It's right there.
Yeah, I hear that. I miss it sometimes too, but then I can sit in my house and I'll hear the wind blowing and the rain going in the middle of the night. And I'm just so thankful that I'm not out there because I know somebody is at 3 o'clock in the morning banging around the woods or banging around on the ocean.
Try not to make any noise so the enemy doesn't hear you. So Chris, like I told you in agreement, I was just going to give you your elevator pitch to get you on here. I want you to introduce yourself to the MisFitNation from as far back as you want to go to how we got to where we are today.
Yeah, sure. So I'm originally from upstate New York. I was born and raised in Albany, New York. I am the youngest of 9 kids. So yeah, chew on that for a bit. I got 5 sisters, 3 brothers. I got 5 nephews and 3 nieces. I have, I got that backwards. So anyway, and so I have a very large family, lots of drama, lots of stress coming up. I had a decent childhood, a lot of it was very different than it is today, right? The internet wasn't a thing, cell phones weren't a thing, podcasts weren't a thing, spent a lot of time outside. Spent a lot of time outdoors, a lot of adventures, had a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Growing up in upstate New York, just outside of Albany. But a big part of my story too is along the lines, I started to come off the rails, and I started to come off the rails very early on. So I'll say that mental health challenges and addiction run in my family. So at the early age of 11 years old, that's the first time I got drunk. And at 11 years old, I didn't drink like a normal 11-year-old. I drank alcoholically from the first time I drank until the last time I drank. And it's a really big part of my story. It's shaped my life. So anyway, from that point, I like, as bad as it was, the hangover the next day and the alcohol poisoning and an 11-year-old experience from drinking, I drank a whole bunch of Johnny Walker Red, and I threw up over myself, and I was brought home by the police. The stage was set. Like it was bad from the beginning. Yeah. But I remember thinking like it did something for me that nothing else was doing. It started to change the way I felt inside. And when I was young like that, what I felt inside was, I just felt like there was something wrong with me. And I always felt like I was never at ease. I was never comfortable in my own skin. And alcohol did that for me. So I continued to drink, and among other things too, all through my schooling and such. I barely made it out of high school. I remember I had to go to school like 2 hours extra every single day in order to even graduate. And then I had no plans after school either. Like I didn't know what I was going to do. Oh, hey. Oh, that something popped up there. So I had no idea what I was going to do after school either. People were making plans for college, and I had no plans. Like I was just like, I'm just going to work a dead end job and just drink and drug myself to possibly an early death. And then, so I ended up getting arrested, here and there, and having some run-ins, and ended up actually getting into some rehabs. I went to some intensive outpatient rehabs, a couple of those, excuse me. And then something happened as I was from a large family, so I was actually born an uncle. So I had a nephew who was a year older than me. And unfortunately, he was killed in a car crash with his fiance on the way to our house for the holidays. And that just devastated the family and devastated me as well. And I remember thinking like, man, this guy was like doing everything right, and I'm a screw up. I'm still around. He's doing everything right, and he's gone. Right. And I'm like, man, I gotta do something with my life. Can I cuss on this thing? Is it okay if I swear? I gotta fucking do something with my life. That's what I was thinking, right? So what I did was I started looking into the military. And my brother was a Marine. My other brother was in the Navy. My brother's a career Marine. He got out as a CW-04 after 26 years, I think he did. And then my other brother, he did 4 or 5 years in the Navy. But I was actually thinking of going into the Army. For whatever reason, don't take offense to this, but if both of them said, don't go in the Army. And they're both new enough to know, like, you're not smart enough for the Air Force. So you're going to have to go either into the Navy or you got to go into the Marines. My Marine brother was like, hey, obviously you want to be a Marine, right? And I was like, I don't really know if I want to be a Marine. My Navy brother said, well, you should go in the Navy. And I was like, well, I really don't want to go in the Navy either, man, because I don't want to float around on ships. And then he told me about this cool little small branch of the Navy that's the CBs, the construction battalions. And he's like, yeah, they never go on ships. Never see them on ships. They wear camouflage uniforms. They look happy. They travel around the world, build stuff, get drunk, fight. Like, it looks like a great time. It's like, all right. So I made the decision I was going to join the Navy and become a CB. And I was toying around with sobriety a little bit, but never really taking it too serious, not doing the work that it would take to change in order to remain sober. Right. So I joined the Navy with 8 months of dry time. I wouldn't say I was sober. I was still like crazy as a loon, but I wasn't drinking. And I remember making the decision, like when I joined the Navy, of like, hey, I've never given anything, never given 100% to anything in my life. I'm going to give 100% to this, and let's just see what happens. And so I did, and I worked my tail off, and I took it serious. And I was older too. Like I was almost 24, I think, when I joined the military. And that makes you like grandpa in boot camp, right? When you're 23, 24, right? So, and I had some life experience, you know. I was really like, dude, I remember being so thankful and grateful to be in the military. Like, man, this place is great. Like, they gave me a place to sleep, like 3 hots and a cot, a roof over my head. They're giving me clothes to wear. And I'm going to school, and they're paying me, and I get to like work out and just like, you know, do what we do like all day. I'm like, this is amazing, dude. This is so good. And where other kids were like fucking wanting to hang themselves because they're making them fold their underwear. It's like, I was like, dude, you have no appreciation for this. Like, this is amazing. So yeah, anywho, made it through training, made it through my technical school. And then I was still sober. And then this idea came in my head. It's like, you know, like you haven't drank in so long, and you know, you got all your poop in a group now, and you're doing pretty well. You're in California, you're in shape, you're 10 and such. And like, you could probably have another drink, you know, get away with it. So I did. And yeah, it was like, oh, it wasn't the same. It was actually worse. Like the phenomenon of craving just immediately took hold again, and I was off to the races. And I remember talking to people after that incident of when I drank again after my technical school, and they're like, holy cow, man. They're like, now we know why you don't drink. Like, you shouldn't drink. Like, you are an absolute mess. And I was like, yeah. But I just blew it off and continued on. Immediately went on my first deployment. My first deployment was to Puerto Rico, but then there was Hurricane Mitch happen in Central America and wiped out Central America. And I believe that was 1998. And then we immediately redeployed the entire construction battalion, everything from Puerto Rico to Central America. And then it was like Puerto Rico was fun. I was like living in the barracks right next to the Caribbean and drinking and partying and chilling out and swimming in the ocean. And then next thing you know, I'm in like Honduras, sleeping on a soccer field in a GP medium tent for like 4 months. My buddy gets dengue fever, almost dies. Like, they're shooting at us every night. I'm like, this is wow. Like, this is the other side. Like, it was all fun and games and such. And now it's like, holy shit. Like, this is real. Yeah. So, yeah, but anywho, I continue to drink, and I continue to excel though as well, because I worked really, really hard, and then I was in the C battalions for a couple of deployments, and I was like, man, as fun as this is, like, I know I can do more. I feel like I want to do more. So, I heard about this place coming around. They were interviewing for support folks. It was called Naval Special Warfare Development Group. Nobody knew who they were at the time. I knew who they were from reading Dick Marcinko books, right? And I was like, I'm going to go interview with them. Excuse me. And my chain of command at the time, they told me, hey, they're not looking for mechanics, because I was a mechanic. I was like, oh, like, bummer. Like, yeah, unfortunately, and we got work to do anyway, so see you at the shop, you know? So I went to the shop, and I like told my leading petty officer, my LP, I was like, hey man, I got a dental appointment I got to go to. And he's like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, I got dental this afternoon. And then I didn't have dental though. I went out and I snooped around, and I figured out where these guys were and where they're doing the interviews. And then I met this chief, and I knew right away, like, these guys are different, right? They got longer hair, they're wearing flight suits. I'm like, what is this all about, right? And they're all calling each other by their first name. They're wearing these Adidas assault boots everywhere. Like, this is weird, right? So I talked to the chief there. I said, hey man, I'm like, I know you guys aren't looking for mechanics, but I'd really like to interview with you, and just give me a chance. Like, you won't regret it. Just give me a chance. And he was like, who told you weren't looking for mechanics? And I told him who. And he's like, dude, that's all we're looking for. We're looking for mechanics and operators. So our chain of command was lying to all of us because they didn't want to lose their best guys. So I ratted out my entire chain of command. I told them, here's my entire chain of command. This is all the people that were saying this. And then they went I saw them in the office the next day, and they like had a closed door meeting, and there was some yelling and shit going on. It was great. anyway, man, yeah, I interviewed for them, and it was a tough interview process because I had arrest on my record. I had, problems with alcohol on my record, so on and so forth. But I remember what they told me. They said, "Hey, man, we're not looking for choir boys. Like, we're looking for people that can get the job done. And like, we're not looking for the smoothest, shiniest rocks. Like, we're looking for perhaps some roughed up fellows. So let's bring you up there and give you a shot." And I went up there, and like, I was really accelerating. I got my warfare pin. I'd gotten a Navy Achievement Medal. I got a CNA school and a C school. Then I got materially promoted to E5, and I'm going to work for a dev group. And that all happened within 3 years of me joining the military.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was on the fast track, right? But I'm still drinking like a fish. But yeah, so I went up there in November of 2000. And when I went up there in November of 2000, I remember walking into this boat barn, and there's these 40-foot high-speed boats there, and they're rumbling 650 cubic inch gas engines at the time on the hose on open headers, and it sounds amazing. And the hair on my back of my neck stands up, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I'm in the right place, man. I'm like, and I'm gonna drive those boats someday. I'm gonna drive those boats. And I remember the guy that was walking me around, he said, "Yeah, slow down, Rockstar. Like, you just got here. Like, you're not going to drive those boats anytime soon." I said, "You watch, I'm going to drive those boats someday." And so I did. I ended up having to work my way up. I worked on the trucks that pulled the boats. I worked on the trailers that the boats sat on. And then I eventually worked on the boats. And then 3 years later, I was sent through a selection and training course alongside Navy SEALs and EOD. And it was wild, man. At the time, it was like, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just say like 70 Navy SEALs classed up in 2003 for selection and training, 20 EOD, and then 2 Navy CB mechanics were with them to go through a selection and training pipeline. And then 9 months later, there was about 40 Navy SEALs, about 8 EOD, and there was 2 CB mechanics left who went into an operational role within the squadrons there. And that's when things got really fun. Yeah, I went through military free fall. I went through static line, military free fall, all the ground mobility, all the maritime mobility, learned the comms, learned how to shoot, move, and communicate. Went to all these shooting schools. That's how I ended up in Nashville, just south of Nashville, I believe, is Mid-South Institute of Self-Defense Shooting, as it's called. So I went there a bunch of times. Have some really fun experiences there in the heat and such and training. Yeah, man, that's also how I went to Fort Campbell. Was I was doing military operations in urban environments. So the Mount Village. So yeah, man. And anywho, I ended up traveling around the world and supporting Navy SEALs, doing direct combat stuff, jumping out of the planes, going overseas, being on target. Not being the number one man in the train or anything, but perhaps being like at the end of the train where I could hold rear security, or perhaps being like, "Hey, we're gonna go in the front door. Like, Chris, why don't you go around the back? And if anyone comes out, like, you take care of it." Like, okay, like just trying to like, as they would say, like a team guy, which again, I'm not a Navy SEAL. I don't want anyone coming after me for fucking stolen valor or any shit, right? Not a Navy SEAL. I am a Navy CB that went through some selection and training process to become a direct support technician that supported Navy SEALs. So what was I saying? Yeah. So I would just try to make myself as useful as possible in everything I did, wherever I went. And it worked out really well, but couldn't stop that drinking. And it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And when I was going to work all day and working my ass off, and then I'll get done with work, and many people that I worked with are probably going home to their wife and kids, I was going home to an empty house and alcohol, and I just drank myself into oblivion. It by the end, it was every single night. Wow. And I was like shaking in the morning and everything. Like, it was really, really, really bad. And I couldn't stop. Like, and then when I tried to stop, I couldn't stop. So in March of 2007, that was the last straw. March 2007, I was arrested for driving while intoxicated. I blew 3 times the legal limit
Wow.
at 2:00 in the morning. Yeah, but so yeah, you say wow, but at this point, like I could operate at 3 times the legal limit. Like I was still like holding a conversation. I wasn't slurring my words. I wasn't stumbling around drunk. Like they thought that their BAC machine was broken, but I knew it wasn't. Like because I could handle my alcohol, but I mean, come on, I had an alcohol use disorder, severe. I mean, that's not I'm trying to like bring shame upon it, but that's the reality. You know, when I built up that tolerance is because I had a disorder for 20 years. So yeah, I ended up getting arrested, blew 3 times the legal limit, driving at 2:00 in the morning. But this is the kicker. This is the one that people always go, oh my God. The vehicle I was driving, the license plate, it said for official government use only.
Woo!
So I had taken the car that we were using for this trip. And at the time too, I'm also up in a base. I'm not going to really say, but it doesn't matter. I was at a base working on a secret project as well. You know, like, I mean, all these things are like really not good at all. Right. At the time, I'm an E6, about to take the chief's exam, about to try to make a chief. And from that night, I went back to E5, week 1, day 1. So what took me 3 years in the military to earn, at 10 years in, I went back to where I was at 3 years in. I went before, at the time, Captain Brian Losey. And I thank Brian Losey to this day for saving my life and holding me accountable, because he broke me down like that and sent me to rehab. And that was the last time I ever drank. That was coming up on 19 years ago now. So that changed the trajectory of my life. But and other things too, like that, like they talk about rock bottom, like that was my rock bottom. Like that's as low as I ever want to go, because I mean, I'll tell you straight up, man, I was sitting in that jail cell and I'm thinking, like, when I get out of here, that's it. It's done. I'm going to kill myself when I get out of here. I was dead serious. And thank goodness I didn't do that, you know, or I wouldn't be able to experience all this great things I've experienced from that point. And as I say, like, you know, these great moments I'm having today, they didn't come from my greatest moment. It came from a time when I was beat down as low as I ever want to go. And I've been building myself back up from there, hand over hand, crawling out, you know, and now, like, life is amazing today, man. It's so good. But it took a lot of work. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. Yeah. I actually ended up staying at the command too. Like I was an asset. My chain of command defended me and they said, "Hey, this guy's good to go, man. Like we need to keep him. Like we're not going to let him go. We're not." My master chief said, "I'm not letting him go until he gets E6 back at least, and then we can send him back out to the fleet. Because if I didn't make E6 again, I was going to be out on high-year tenure. You can only be in E5 for so long, right?" And I did. I worked my tail off, man. I stayed sober. I worked my tail off. I took the lessons that I learned from that experience, and I tried to help other people with what they were struggling with, and I still do that to this day. And yeah, man, I made it back. I ended up leaving Special Warfare. I ended up going back to the conventional forces, which was really, really tough. I had to learn how to blouse my pants again, how to iron my shit, how to like stop calling people by the first name. I had to shave every day, you know. I was like, fuck. Yeah. So, and when I left Special Warfare, that's when I discovered the things I'm into today too, that I bring into others now for the past decade, is mindfulness meditation, breath work, therapeutic modalities of cognitive fitness coaching. And I started getting into all that in about 2015. And I also started getting into ultra running. I run ultra long distances for fun. So it's another thing I really love. Yeah. We can talk more about that soon. And yeah, so leading up throughout my career, I ended up meeting a wonderful girl from Thailand. That's another part of my rock bottom story. When I was arrested, she was actually 5 days away from flying into New York to live in America. And here I'm sitting in a jail cell, like trying to figure out how I'm even going to pick her up.
Oh, wow.
But I did pick her up, and we did, through the hard times and good times, we stayed married, and we had 2 daughters. I'm a father to 2 kids, and so we had some good times. We ended up going from Special Warfare to California. From California, I went to my last command out in Misawa, Japan, which we really, really loved. And we really loved that side of the globe. And since my wife is from Thailand, when I retired in 2021, rather than going back and living in the States, we ended up moving to Chiang Mai, Thailand. And that's where I live now. And when I got out of the military, the last few years in the military, I was like, man, you don't even have a college degree. You've been in for so long. So I got busy with college, got my associates, my bachelor's back to back. And then when I got out, I utilized my GI Bill to get up there, my master's of social work from Arizona State University. And I've been working on also a mindfulness meditation teacher certification for the last couple of years, really milking that out. And I opened up a coaching practice, and now I take clients from around the world and help people with nervous system regulation through breath work and mindfulness meditation and some cognitive restructuring tools. So that's me in a nutshell. Yeah, that's where we're at today. So you have any questions?
Well, first of all, congratulations on 19 years. That's amazing.
Thanks, brother.
Johnny Walker Red at 11 years old. That's an accomplishment in its own right. But it didn't stop you, obviously. So you kept moving on. You had to try other things, and hopefully you weren't still drinking Johnny Walker Red at the end. You were drinking something different or worser. But I started drinking probably around the same time, 11, 12, 13 years old, and I didn't stop until this year. So 40 years of drinking.
Oh, okay.
January 26th of this year, I shut it off. Just cold turkey. Just shut it off in 300 days now, I think. So
Awesome, man.
I'm not at 19 years, but I'm at 300 days, and that's a win for me, a big time win. And I remember this whole year. Otherwise, it'd be like all the other years where it's just blurs and bleeps and blurs everywhere. So I understand what you went through there, and it kind of slowed my career down too, drinking, and I can see that that's all you want to do is be that sailor, be that support CB with the operators, and that you hit that roadblock, you hit your rock bottom, and you knew you hit rock bottom. And sometimes people don't know they're at rock bottom. And you knew it, and were able to. You've dug yourself out, and you've clawed your way out, and now you're doing great things. Jake in the audience here, he was a EOD guy. He was in Bosnia, and he had the construction battalion out of Gulfport, built his living area in Bosnia, got us off the ground out of the snow. Much respect for y'all. When I was in Ramadi with construction battalion 14, and they were great dudes, and they had a horrible incident happen, and we lost 5 of them in a mortar attack. So I'll always remember them guys for what we lost, not just what we gained from them, but what we lost that day in May of 2004. We lost them. They were in formation, and mortar came in. It was just unlucky for them, lucky for, of course, the insurgents. A lucky shot. But that's what I just knew everything they wanted to build, they built for us. Sometimes you had to trade them fake. We gave them fake beer, so they were different. They were a different breed. They liked the O'Douls, so we gave them O'Douls, and they'd work for us. But you always knew you can count on the CBs to do stuff. And awesome. And to see where you've come from, not just building things, now you're building people. Through resilience, through mindfulness, through the breath work, through cognitive fitness. And I want to get into that side of it too. And let's transition over to there now.
Sure. Hey, I just want to say before we do that, though, congratulations on 300 days, man. That's a huge accomplishment. It took me a goddamn decade to get a week. So, you know what I mean? Like 300 days, it feels like an eternity, like to get through that, like that short time in the beginning. Yeah. Dude, 18, 19 years, like that was easy. Now it's not a struggle. It's just who I am. I don't drink. Period. So that's cool. All right, let's transition. Yeah, cool, man.
So we've had other breathwork guys on here, one from that side of the world too, from Australia. He's a special operator from Australia, and he talks about breathwork. He still texts me on WhatsApp all the time about breathwork. So it's always in my head. What is your approach to breathwork? What breathwork do you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, breathwork. So what is it for me? Like breathwork is intentionally using my breath in a way that I'm trying to shift my internal states in some type of way. So it's very, very natural. Breathwork isn't something that like I have to really try too hard to teach you. Like if you were frightened by something, one of the first things you would probably do is take a breath. You go, right? So you that big breath in, right? If someone, if a rhinoceros came through the doorway, holy shit, right? And that is very natural, right? That big breath in, because boom, it energizes you, right? And then if I gave you some news that perhaps wasn't the best news and you were trying to process that, probably one of the things you might do is go, and you'd let out a long, slow, steady sigh, and you'd probably make some noise. Like it's all very intuitive, like that in that long, slow, steady exhale with a sigh, like that's going to help bring down your nervous system from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state, from a fight, flight, maybe up into freeze, into a state of rest, digest, and everything's good, right? So with breath work, that's what we do. We use it in a way of intentionally using our breath to help us. So when I say breath work, one of the first things I would teach you would, if you were a client of mine, would be like diaphragmatic breath. And we want to be breathing with our diaphragm more than like breathing with our chest and such, because when we do that, we can bring in a lot more oxygen and we can also stimulate what's called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is a big part of the autonomic nervous system. And it's what helps us. It's kind of like the governor that takes us from bouncing off the rev limiter to at idle and chill and at a cool baseline, right? So that's one of the first things I would teach, would be diaphragmatic breathing. The next thing I would teach would be a, so I'll call it like a immediate action drill, an IAD, right? Like what happens when we get stimulated? We go into what I would call a stop technique, which can also be like kind of like in the military, a tactical pause, right? Where we would pause, we would stop. That's the acronym STOP. And then we would take 3 to 5 of those deep diaphragmatic belly breaths to bring us out of this state of fight, flight, possibly even freeze. The O would be observe. We would observe kind of like the OODA loop, right? We would observe what's going on in our bodies. We would ask ourselves what sensations are present, what thoughts are present, what emotions are present. And then the P is proceed mindfully. And those are the first things I teach with breath work. From there, it's client centered. So it's kind of like, hey, what do you want to do? Some clients are like, hey, I want to really get deep into breath work. And we want to do like big, like, lots of long sessions with breath holds and this, and they really want to get deep into it because it is like really cathartic and you can get a lot out of it and a lot of things can come up and we can process a lot and we can integrate a lot of that. Other clients are kind of like, breath works, whatever, just show me some basic techniques that will help me throughout my day, and maybe they'll do a little bit in the morning and they want to lean further into mindfulness meditation. But yeah, so that's it. That's just like one of the pillars of my program is the breath work. And, but some folks gravitate towards that, while some folks don't. So you have any questions on breath work that I might be able to answer?
I know a lot of people go towards the tactical breathing or the box breathing.
Yeah. Box breathing. Mm-hmm.
And I use that, usually in the morning as part of my meditation. I sit on the porch and I do some box breathing and just soak in the environment.
Yeah.
Part of my practice is I do that and I take a picture of the same spot every day just to see if I see any changes. I take a picture of the same spot through my backyard just to see what changes in that area each day. It could be that tactical mindset of mine to see if the enemies come into my backyard, but just looking at that all the time, that one spot, I take that picture just to see. Say I have that one thing I do every day is that I take that picture. I make sure I do that, and I do that box breathing and meditate, and then I start my day.
Nice.
I think it works for me. That works for me. And I like that you said that some people don't like to go through the whole rigor of hold the breath forever and suck it and come out. And some people like the quick breathing thing and then go to meditation and maybe mindfulness drills or mindfulness words to get them going.
Yeah.
How many people get more success in their lives just doing breathing or a combination thereof?
It's all a combination. Everyone needs a little like different recipe and a different sauce. This has been my experience working in this for the last few years. But I will say this is like everyone I've worked with gains some level of success, whatever that might look like for them, if they stick to it, and if they stay consistent with it. because the thing about these practices is that the gratification is delayed. It's like you might get a little like, oh, that felt nice, but then it can like immediately dissipate if you just go back to wherever, whatever your lifestyle looks like. So it's over time, it's cumulative, these changes. Like take a look at like mindfulness meditation, right? We know today from functional MRIs that we can really change the structure of our brain from mindfulness meditation for the better. But it doesn't happen from doing 1 5-minute meditation, once a month. It happens from doing meditation consistently. I would say every day, every morning, every evening, whatever it might be. But yeah, so I think you have to be patient with the results. But then when it does happen, like for me, when it started to happen, I started to get results from doing these practices. I was like, whoa, like, okay, there's something to this, and I don't need to burn incense or like, bang gongs or wear a white robe or anything or sit up on a grassy knoll. I can still be this dude that wears ball caps and t-shirts and flip-flops and, still says fuck every other word and can be a meditation guy. And that's what I am today. So yeah, and from my experience, I kind of want to add in there is like how I started meditation too, is I started with a group called Mindfulness for Veterans in Camarillo, California. So if anyone from Mindfulness for Veterans in Camarillo, California is ever listening to this podcast, I send hello. And I want to let you know that from the first night I meditated with you all for 45 minutes, I haven't stopped. And that's been a decade ago. So again, it's something else that really changed my life. Yeah. Like anything, man, once I get into it, like I am in it. I'm locked in. So I got to be careful what I get into.
So we got a couple questions from the audience popped in here while we were talking.
Oh, great.
First one is from Rival Drug Lord. What was the moment you realized, I think you already answered this, I believe. What was the moment you realized burnout had taken over your life, and how did you begin that rebuilding process? Thank you, Rival Drug Lord.
Yeah, Rival Drug Lord. That's a great name. Yeah, so I mean, we talked about rock bottoms, and I would say that I had 1,000 what I thought were rock bottoms that turned out to be made of glass, and I just was able to like shatter through them again and again and again. But again, I think that point, and I can remember it clearly, I was on the side of a river after I had driven over that bridge I was going to jump off of. I'd driven over that, and I had pulled off this little dirt road, and I made it onto the side of the river, and I got out of that car, and I was still not in a very good headspace. But I remember I had like a deep heart-to-heart conversation with myself, if that makes any sense, and said, and like had like almost like flashbacks of everything that led me up to this point, and all the times that I built things up and tore it down, built it up, tore it down, built it up, tore it down. I said, that's it. Like, I'm like, no matter what happens, I'm never going to drink again. I don't know what's going to happen. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's going to suck, but I'm not going to drink again, no matter what. And I made that commitment. I made that hardcore decision that this is it. This is as far as we're going. We're not going any further down. And then from there, I began to rebuild myself by fucking getting honest and telling somebody, really telling some people, this is what's going on with me. In my experiences, once I started telling people about what was going on with me and started telling people that, hey, I'm going to pursue this staying sober thing, the more people I told, the more I felt like I have to follow through with it, right? Because I don't want to tell too many people, and the next thing you know, fuck, they see me at the bar and like, hey, I thought you weren't drinking anymore, So it becomes uncomfortable. So I'm like, part of me was like, I don't tell too many people, and another part of me was like, you need to keep telling people. It was like, but yeah, man. And I got into rehab with the Navy, and then when I got out, man, like that was it. I threw myself hardcore And at the time I was doing the 12-step fellowship, and I was hardcore into it. I was going to a meeting every single day. I was going to 2-3 meetings on the weekends. Like I don't do anything half-ass, right? You're going to get full ass from me. And so I like hardcore into it. And yeah, man, it had to become my priority. It had to become my priority. This rebuilding project, it had to take priority over everything. Because if I put anything in front of it, that's the shit that's going to go away when I go back to drinking, you know? And it's tough to do that too, because what happens is I start feeling a little bit better. I started going, I mean, maybe I was making a little bit of a big deal about, not much. Maybe I don't need to go and do all that. Maybe I don't need to do the meditation or the breath work or go work out today. Maybe I don't need to, take care of my mental health and such, because I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah. And then what happens? We start to slide. We start to slip back. And as I say, I love acronyms, right? So SLIP is an acronym for stuff I'm doing that works for me loses its priority. Now I've slipped. I slipped back. And the next thing you know, we're in a bad spot. And who knows? Maybe that drink starts looking like it's not such a bad idea after all. So hopefully that answers your question, is that I had to get real, I had to get honest, and I had to ask for help. I couldn't do it by myself. And I think many of us at some point realized that, saying, hey, I can't keep this inside anymore. I can't do this by myself. And go figure, like once we start talking about it too, like it makes it that much easier. Once I start pulling all that stuff out of the closet, putting it in the sunlight, it loses a lot of its power over me. So
takes second.
That answers the question.
That answers the question for me. I'm sure Rival Drug Lord was happy with that. He hasn't said anything else. The next one is from, this one's another good name, Blue Sky Mash. How does cognitive fitness differ from traditional stress management or mental health approaches? Thank you, Blue Sky.
That's a really good question. So cognitive fitness is kind of a term that I coined, to be quite honest with you. It's so cognitive fitness, so cognitive, like thoughts, thinking, and thinking leading to emotions, and emotions leading to bodily sensations leading to behaviors and such. And then fitness, same as health, just being good. So I would say cognitive fitness coaching, what I do is different in respects that I bring in all of these different elements from it. I bring in addressing the body through breath work mainly. I address the mind by bringing in mindfulness meditation. And then I address a cognitive restructuring, which is I borrow tools from all these different modalities, and I borrow tools from cognitive behavioral therapy, internal family systems, narrative exposure therapy. I borrow all these tools, but at the same time, it's still coaching. It's not traditional mental health therapy, where mental health therapy was I'm diagnosing and I'm treating a mental health challenge, right? Here, I'm just borrowing these tools, but I want to make sure that we're always thinking this is a coaching process where I'm trying to say, hey, where do we want to be? Where are we at in the future or in the present? And how are we going to get to where we want to be? Yeah, sure, we'll go back into the past, but I'm not healing trauma. I'm taking your past and we want to integrate it into our present day. So I think in that respect, it's different. Yeah. So it's different in the respect that it's a multi-pronged approach. And it's also, I'm super client-centered, where I'm super flexible and I meet everyone where they're at. And we do things like that. It's a team collaboration. So, asking folks like what works for them, what doesn't work for them, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think that's how it's different.
That's perfect. It's an easy answer. It's a easy to understand answer. It wasn't too many big words. It's good. Yeah, so our next one is from Hungover More Than Ever. Strange, that's the name that we're talking about now. What role did mindfulness and breathwork play in transforming your daily life? Thank you, Hungover More Than Ever.
These are great screen names, man. Like handles. Like, are you making these up? Are these real?
It comes in on the text here. I'm just popping them in there.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah. Hey, thanks for the question. So how did mindfulness and breathwork change my daily life? Dude, oh my God. So back to talking about the studies, like, I should say so mindfulness is like paying attention to the present moment without judgment on purpose, right? That would be my definition of mindfulness. And what helps me achieve that type of mindfulness would be the practice of meditation. And what does meditation look like? It's an intentional act where I sit down and I focus on something. Normally I focus on something. That's like the beginning of mindfulness meditation would be like, hey, let's sit down and let's just focus on the sensation of our breathing and try to follow our breaths. And then the thoughts come in, you go, okay, I've drifted. And then you just come back and, I drifted again. You come back and you just keep drifting and coming back, drifting and coming back, drifting and coming back. It's not about clearing your mind. It's not about having this perfect meditation. It's not about being this empty container or something, right? Because best of luck with that. I just want to address it real quick. If anyone says like, I can't meditate because I can't clear my mind. I'm like, yeah, neither can I. Like I've been meditating for a decade. And as you can tell, there's a lot of thoughts going on up inside this head.
I guess so.
But yeah, we just drift and come back. So how does it change? Well, what it started to do is it started to change the physical makeup of my brain. Let me say this is that chronic stress will shrink your prefrontal cortex and it will enlarge your amygdala. So your prefrontal cortex, your executive functions, right? Your hypothalamus and such, like your memory and things like that. So I can't think clearly. I can't remember anything. And then my amygdala is my alarm bell and I'm super reactive, right? So that's what chronic stress does to your brain. The really cool thing is, and this is a really good return on investment, in my opinion, is if you sit down and do mindfulness meditation for a period of time, it'll begin to change your brain in positive ways. It'll begin to thicken your prefrontal cortex. You'll actually grow gray matter in your prefrontal cortex, and it'll actually reduce the volume of your amygdala, reduce the volume of your alarm bell. And there's some other changes too that they've shown in the hypothalamus where you'll be able to you'll have a better memory and such. And then also in I think it's called the parietal junction, which helps with perspective taking and empathy. So what does that look like day to day? Well, it looks like me like being calmer, being more focused. And I started to have these weird sensations where I felt like I wanted to talk to people. And that was like at the time in my life, that wasn't something I was into. I wasn't like, I don't want to socialize. And then I started like feeling like I wanted to be, around folks and be connected. And so that was cool. And then as far as breath work, like what is breath work doing for me? Breath work, when practiced on a regular basis, it can generate what's called vagal toning. So we can tone our vagus nerve, which is which controls the autonomic nervous system, which has to do with my fight or flight or freeze, rest and digest, and keeps me in a rest and digest state more often than I am in a fight or flight state. And it doesn't mean that I don't get pissed off. It doesn't mean I don't experience challenging emotions. It means that when those things do happen, I recover quicker and I perhaps don't go so far off into the weeds on those things. And I would say, in the world of mindfulness, they would call that a sense of equanimity, where I'm not being pushed and pulled as far and as often by day-to-day life. So hopefully that answers your question. Thanks for the question.
Last one before we go into our wrap-up stuff. This one's a pretty simple name, I guess. Give me a break. For veterans struggling with identity after service, what is the first step you recommend? Thank you. Give me a break.
That's a great question, man. And hasn't every veteran struggled with that?
Yes.
Hasn't every veteran, I know I did. I'm sure you did too, Rich. Like the silence after service is like deafening. Yep. And it's like, who the fuck am I without the uniform, without the awards, without all that? Who am I now? And then you get this sensation of like, they tell me like, you can do anything. You can do anything now. And you're like, yeah, anything. Oh my God. Like, but what? Like, what the hell do I want to do?
What is this anything?
Right. So I think one of the first steps that I would suggest is if you're transitioning out of service, is to double down on everything you know that is good for you. Like when I was getting out of service, I was working out more, I was running more, I was meditating more, I was doing more breath work, I was doing more journaling, I was talking to more people because I knew that stressor of getting out was coming.
Yep.
When we get out, I think it's a matter of like, well, what is your identity? Okay. Well, what do we tie identity to? It's our values. Like, what are our core values? And really sit down and like do a values exercise with perhaps a coach or somebody, right? Or you can find probably plenty of them online too, of figuring out what is the North Star and maybe asking ourselves. So I say that'll be the first step, is figuring out your values. I think the second step too is asking ourselves, like, what did the service do for me? Like, what was I getting out of it that made it feel so goddamn good? And how can I get that today? How can I replicate that? Because we need it. Like, and it's, so yeah, I think that's it, man. And then like, I'm glad that identity came up too, because I think identity is so important. And we can bring about an identity that is a positive and healthy identity, or we can bring about one that's challenging, I would say.
Yes.
Right? So like my identity, like who is Chris Norris? Well, Chris Norris is the type of guy that takes care of himself. And then my behaviors follow that, right? Like identity-based habits, and I do this quite often. Is like, well, I am the type of person that X, Y, and Z, and that's why I do what I do today, right? But I wasn't always this guy,
right?
Because it used to be an unhelpful vision of who Chris Norris was. Well, Chris Norris is a fuck up, and then I would fuck up. So today I'm not. I've changed. I've changed for the better. It takes work though, and it took some time. Yeah, that's been my experience. But yeah, cool, man. Thanks for the question. This is great.
No
I love
problem.
this.
I love when they're active and do that. They send the questions in. It makes it a lot easier for me because I don't have to think big questions when they're thinking outstanding questions.
Yeah, this is amazing.
So as and you said, like finding that identity, I always tell people when I got out, I didn't know what to do with my hands anymore. You don't know, I don't have to tie my boots. I don't have to get up and go someplace. I don't have a schedule. I don't have this. There's nothing really to do. What do I do with my hands? It was finding that momentum again, like I told you in the green room after a year getting that job and then keeping that through what I'm doing now. And that's what made my identity. It took that challenge accepted mentality and move forward and drive on. So as we start to close here, Chris, what's the best way for anyone from the audience that wants to link in with you, maybe just a chat like we just did, or have you on their shows? There's a lot of podcast hosts that are in our audience. If they want to have you on, the best way to get in contact with you.
I have a website, cognitivefitnesscoach.com. That's one of the best ways. And from that website, there's plenty of pop-ups that says schedule your 30-minute strategy call with me. Don't be afraid to hit that pop-up and see if those times align with you, and just book a call on through Calendly, and we'll have a Zoom call. No pressure, no cringy sales pitch, right? Nothing. Like, we'll just talk and see what's up. And then from there, there's all the social links. I'm on Instagram, a cognitive fitness coach. I have a Facebook page. I have a LinkedIn profile. I have a YouTube channel. And so, yeah, all those are great. But the central place to go to answer the question is go to cognitivefitnesscoach.com. All one word.
Outstanding. And that's in the chat right now. It was in earlier. Awesome. All his handles were dropped into the chat earlier as well, and will be in notes on the audio. So you can click on whichever one makes you the happiest, whichever one's for you to go to and just check out Chris, and maybe he'll be able to help you on your journey in life as well. Chris, our last question. This one puts you in that hot seat again. We ask this to every guest as we're about to sign off. What's 3 things the Misfit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
That's a great question. So the first things I would say that you do, and this sounds really cheesy, when you wake up in the morning, feet hit the ground, get out of that rack, make your bed. It's the first thing you can do. Make your bed, right?
Nice.
Don't be on your phone. Don't lay in your bed, burning dopamine with your phone. Get out of the rack. Make your bed. Start your day with a win. Next thing I would say you need to do in the morning, get outside. Get some of that morning daylight in your eyes. Again, stay off that phone. Stay away from it. Don't burn up your dopamine, right? And then the third thing after that, I would advise you to find some type of practice, whether it's breath work, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's a walk around the neighborhood, just observing the colors, the sounds, the smells, the environment, staying as grounded and as present as you can. Stay off that phone. Don't get on that phone. I would say start with 15 minutes, move to 30 minutes, and then make it an hour, because it's going to help you big time. Because what you're doing when you get on the phone in the morning is you're burning through your dopamine. Your body's produced all this dopamine all night long, and you get on there and you're just like, bah, and just burn it up into the phone. And then you're like, oh, I can't figure out why I feel like shit the rest of the day, and I have no motivation. So those are the three things I would say. Make your bed, get outside, and find some type of practice.
Outstanding. All three of those are in the chat. They'll be in the Substack tomorrow. And of course, they'll be on YouTube forever and on audio tomorrow as well. Chris,
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us from across the planet to hang out with us today. This was awesome. If ever you want to come back on and share some new techniques you're doing, just give us a holler. We'll get you back on here.
Awesome.
So,
Thanks, Rich. I really appreciate it, brother.
No problem,
Really
brother. MisFit Nation, as always, remember, tomorrow is better day if you're in it. It's a better day tomorrow if you're in it. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling out, if you're feeling that darkness, stop. Think about those around you. They do love you. They will miss you. Dial 988. Get the help you need. If you don't want to dial 988 for whatever reason, call your inner circle. They will answer you. They will be there for you. If you don't want to talk to them, contact us at the MisFit Nation. info@themisfitnation.com, Steven@themisfitnation.com, or Jake@themisfitnation.com. Any one of us will contact you, and we will stay on the line with you until help can get there for you. We are not the emergency services, but we are an ear to keep you alive, and we want you to be with us. So next time, everyone, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the MisFit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great MisFit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
MisFit Nation. Misfit.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.